If Hamas thought that they could just fire on our rockets and then sit back and enjoy immunity, that's false. We are targeting a terrorist organization that is targeting our civilians and hiding behind their civilians.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu speaking yesterday with CBS News. In a moment, we'll speak with a senior advisor to Netanyahu. But first, we are joined by the head of the Palestinian mission to the UK, Ambassador Hussein Zomlot, who is the former head of the PLO mission to the United States. Thank you very much for being on with us this morning.
Mr. Ambassador, thank you so much for being with us during these, obviously, these trying and terrible times. Let me ask you, first of all, there's talk in Washington is starting of a possible peacefire. Would you support a peacefire in this back and forth war?
Of course, I would support that. It's our people, the Palestinian people, who are, as we speak now, live on TV, are subjected to an industrial-scale mass murder of civilians, defenseless children, women. Entire residential buildings are being destroyed, and not only in Gaza. Same attacks are happening in the West Bank, in Jerusalem. Before all that, inside the Green Line, inside Israel itself, our people, Palestinians, are being targeted by lynching mobs. So yes, we must end this situation immediately, and we must end it now. And we look forward to see much more action by the international community. And I must say, so far, there has been inaction, there has been contradiction in the position, including the U.S. and the Biden administration.
Mr. Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu in the previous clip was talking about missiles being fired into Israel. I certainly know, just following American history, that if one missile were fired into this country from a foreign country, we would probably declare war at that moment. How should the Israelis respond to the 3,000 missiles fired from Hamas? And how do we get to a point where the airstrikes stop against the Palestinian territories and the missiles stop going into Israel?
Well, if anybody who should be really squarely blamed for what is happening, it's Netanyahu himself, number one. He has been spreading these sickening lies that we use our children as human shields, not that he has the most sophisticated guided missiles targeted at our civilians, lies like they are targeting military equipments in residential buildings. Ask the Associated Press, the U.S., that was their office. Lies like this is a war between Israel and Hamas, when in fact, no, it's an aggression by Israel on the Palestinian people everywhere. And it started in Jerusalem by these ethnic cleansing attempts of people of their homes long before Hamas got involved. It started in the provocations and the storming of Al-Aqsa Mosque at the height of the holy month of Ramadan, and at the highest of the evening of Laylat al-Qadr, which is the most sacred in the Muslim calendar. All these provocations is what led. But Netanyahu is also responsible for the last 20-odd years of spreading hatred, inciting to violence, of promoting the project of Greater Israel, whereby he wants to simply displace the entire Palestinian population and replace them with Jewish colonies and settlers, illegal settlers. The phenomena is unprecedented in the West Bank, and therefore these sickening lies must be really now called off. I come back to the role of the US being the leader of the free world. This role is not being seen so far. There is a lot of contradictions. We had Biden saying he wants to see equal measures of freedom, of security, of dignity and prosperity. There is no such a thing as we speak. There is one state, that is Israel. There is one government, that is Netanyahu. They are harboring terrorism against our people. They are engaged in ethnic cleansing our communities. They are going ahead with their plan to establish a Greater Israel project. And the incitement that is happening live on TV, on social media by Israeli politicians are all crimes against humanity and war crimes. And therefore, this time is a time for leadership by the U.S. And if they really mean this statement that equal measures, that we are all equal, that all men and women have been created equal, if they mean it, the first thing they need is to stop the Israeli atrocities and aggressions immediately, is to provide protection, international protection to the Palestinian people, to our homes and properties, to our sacred...
All right. We only have a certain amount of time. Let me get you to respond to what the New York Times wrote this morning. It said Hamas has fired nearly 3,000 rockets towards Israeli cities and towns, a clear war crime. How do you respond to that?
Well, the reaction of Palestinians here and there, you have the right, and everybody has the right to judge it. But it has gone on for a long time that we only focus on the reactions of a besieged people, defenseless. They don't have Israel's most sophisticated airstrikes and air force. They don't have Israel's Iron Dome provided by the U.S. to intercept all these homemade primitive rockets. Yet the main focus here is always on our ability to and our attempt to defend ourselves. In the end, Joe, this isn't about Palestine occupying Israel. We don't occupy anybody. It's Israel that is occupying Palestinian land. This is the U.S. position. It's Israel that colonized Palestinian land. This is the U.S. position, and settlements are illegal. It's Israel that is besieging the 2 million people that they are bombarding as we speak in Gaza. And I want to remind you and your audience that these 2 million people, the majority of them, 80% of them, including myself, my parents, were made refugees already in 1948 in the Nakba of the Palestinians, the catastrophe. So they revisit the Nakba. The Nakba is ongoing. Our displacement, our ethnic cleansing, the industrial scale denial of our rights is still ongoing for 100 years. And when the Palestinian people rise up to stand for their rights, to call for their rights, the right of equality, the right of self-determination, the right to move, the right to work, the right to call their homes, their home, the right to have an airport. When they do so, the whole discussion becomes about our struggle to end injustice. Joe, I want to say one sentence. It is not our struggle to end injustice that must end and stop. It is injustice that must end and stop immediately.
Ambassador, we've seen these harrowing images out of both Israel but also Gaza. I was hoping you could give us an updated situation there in terms of the hospitals, particularly already since there's a COVID outbreak. What is happening with the people there in Gaza, but also what efforts are being done to stop? You've talked about the right, you've talked about Israel launching weapons, but rockets are being fired by Hamas as well. What is being done to prevent that side of it, sir?
Well, the real missing side of this equation is the international community, is the United States. I mean, the U.S. was very quick, the Biden administration was very quick to condemn Palestinian reactions. But the U.S. never condemned Israeli actions on a daily basis over decades. The U.S. was quick to call for the cessation of Palestinian reaction, to condemn so-called Palestinian violence, but never visited the real root cause of all this. And the U.S. also gave Israel the right to self-defense. Israel is the occupier. Go back to international law and what international law gives to people under occupation. It is not us who drafted these laws and conventions. It is you in the U.S., in Europe, and elsewhere after the horror of the Second World War. And yet the U.S. so far, the Biden administration, has really not given its own and honored its own responsibility to actually be the leader of the free world and impose the will of the international community, impose the rules-based international order. These rules are very clear, my friend. Our people have rights. We do have rights. And therefore, the main issue here is that how do we end Israel's culture of impunity? How do we bring Israel under the international law rather than above it? How do we deliver to Israel a message that these aggressions must stop immediately, but also we should not go back to the status quo ante. We do not want to go back to the situation that led us where we are today. And the U.S. can do so. The U.S. provides Israel with every rocket, with all its military might. The U.S. protects Israel in the international arena. The U.S. has opposed our efforts to take Israel to the International Criminal Court to bring an end to this culture of impunity. So the U.S. can do it, and regrettably, the U.S. so far is not doing what it should be doing in terms of imposing and pressuring Israel to stop this madness. What is happening is nothing less than human madness at an industrial scale at the hands of Netanyahu.
All right, Mr. Ambassador, we thank you so much for being with us and hope you'll return. And certainly our prayers are with your parents, who you mentioned, your family, and all those civilians right now that are caught up in this terrible bloodshed. Thank you so much for being with us. Please come back.
All right, up next, the view from the other side. A senior advisor to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu joins us. Keep it right here on Morning Joe.
Hey, thanks so much for watching our YouTube channel. You can follow up on today's top stories and breaking news, or catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.